Welcome to South 24.
Yep. Yes, boy. Yes. Yes.
So it's been about 5 years since I've been planning this trip down to the South Island, and finally in November 2024 it was time to take the car and head down to Christchurch. So during this solo trip I'd be camping and adventuring around the central South Island. Now my main 3 targets for the trip were brook trout, chinook salmon and elephant fish. But along the way I was looking to catch some redfin perch, rainbow trout, brown trout, tench, and maybe even a spotted dogfish. Even those 3 target fish would be a huge challenge for me, so make sure to stay tuned to see how I get on. It would be about a 2-day trip to get from Hawke's Bay to Christchurch, as I'd need to jump on a ferry to get to Picton. I boarded early on day 2 and started heading south through the Wellington Harbour, and even managed to spot a kayak. We then headed out into Cook Strait, where it was the single best crossing I've ever had. Just 0 wind, and then we headed up Queen Charlotte Sound to take in the sights of a spectacular part of the country. There were plenty of boats out and about on this day of pure perfection. Eventually, Picton was off in the distance, and it was soon time to embark onto the shore. It was then a trip from Picton down to Kaikoura. I made the usual pit stop at the seal colony to check out what was going on. And then headed off through the tunnel. I continued on the road, taking around another 3 hours to get from Kaikoura all the way down to Christchurch. After a mad trip, I took the night before heading out the next day.
Look at it. Where are the fish at? Surely. Look at the state of it. Have a look at that. Big tench looking right at me. I don't think we're going to have a problem unless they're really, really tough. Well, hey everyone, and welcome to a massive adventure. So we just got down to the South Island yesterday, and we're spending our first day tench fishing here at this lake, and then we're going to have a bunch of adventures around all over the place from Christchurch south. So I'm really looking forward to some of the fishing we're going to have. Lots and lots of different species to look for. So yeah, I've already seen some tench swimming around in front of me. It's the most amazing crystal clear lake you ever see. I've got one or a couple even now just starting to feed up on the corner for an out. So hopefully we might be able to pitch one at a tench, which is not something you can do pretty much anywhere. And maybe we'll get one. I'm gonna go up this side, have a look. Here they are. Oh, they've seen me.
With very, very hot conditions, the tench were out and about, and it wasn't hard to see a few swimming past. However, this combination of heat and crystal clear water was making the tench very, very hard to catch. They also happened to be looking like they were spawning, so it was gonna be impossible to hook any. After several hours of a losing battle, I decided to pack it up and head elsewhere. Right, well that wasn't that successful. We're gonna head off to another spot now. Try and catch a trout in the afternoon. It's getting towards evening now, and it's an absolute scorcher today. I was prepared for cold, and it's just absolutely scorching. So we'll keep heading on, try and find something that'll bite. I've seen so many today out there, tench, and nah, not happening. So we'll move. Righto, so it's day 2. We've done our first sort of scouting day. Haven't landed a fish yet. Today is
much more of a duller overcast day, so it should help us a lot. Today we're gonna go after a perch. We've got the spin rod ready here, got a few soft plastics, and we're gonna head in, see what we can find down there. Right, we're here. Just gonna chuck our waders on and probably, well, I don't think we need a raincoat right now, but it's much duller day today than it was yesterday. Chuck a jacket on just so we're nice and warm. Still de-rusting the fishing skills. It's been a bit since I've been in fresh water. Wow, that was a good choice to cast there. See, in the weeds. In the weeds, big fish, not a perch. We'll get him out. I'm on good. Jesus, eel maybe. Gone? No, he's still there. He's coming at me. Gone. Jesus, I just got creamed, man. Look at that. Dumpstered. Big fish. Big brown, I reckon. Just clean in there. Wow, we've hooked one now. But that's disappointing that that happened. I had no hope there. He absolutely cleaned me up. Look out. I got two fish right in front of me. Two big browns. I can pull it past them. Come on. Yep, one behind it. Come on, eat it. Yep. Oh! He had it. Pulled it out of his mouth. There were two of them following it. Well, we're gonna just walk out after fishing that spot for a bit. You'll see a couple of the clips in there. It was very, very fishy. Like, I probably saw 15 fish, all brown trout, not the target species. I'm after perch, so it's kind of not really producing them. It's quite shallow, about knee deep, and there's just fish cruising everywhere. And I hooked two as soon as I got there, and I've just had them following constantly. The problem wasn't getting the fish to bite, because I had 6 hits. It was a bloody weed in the water, so every single cast I was getting weed on the line, and it was stopping the fish from taking, because they'd follow it right up to the bank and I'd get weed on the line, and then they'd just refuse it. And we'll head back up to the car and head down the other side. Now, how am I going to get a fly or anything to him? That's good. Come on, eat it. Right past your nose. Is there another one? There's two there. Is that a perch? Both half asleep. This is going to be on top of his nose.
After a day of battling with the weather, floating weed, and plenty of other factors, I decided to call it there. I'd had plenty of follows, but I just couldn't get a fish to stay on the hook. The next day was looking to bring some better weather, so I hopped in the car the next morning and headed off.
Righto, it's our third day of adventures now, and we're just on the motorway heading to the south. We've got the best day of the lot coming up today, so we're going to take the chance to head down to the the southern Christchurch beaches and have a crack at it. We're going to meet a mate down there who knows what he's doing, so we'll actually have a guide today, so that will be good for me. Got to be a pretty decent trip, so I'm going to settle in for about an hour's drive, and fingers crossed we can catch something today off the beach.
After arriving to the beach, I was greeted with very, very hot conditions. But thankfully, the wind was blowing strongly offshore and the waves were settled.
Well, hey everyone, and we're down south of Christchurch now, and we're here with Greg, and we're going after an elephant fish, but honestly at this point anything will be good just to get me underway for the trip. Sounds like there's a few rig around, so we might get one of those, and yeah, fingers crossed we might be able to take that elephant fish today. We're in with a shot, so we'll give it a go.
Greg had been to collect some paddle crabs the night before, so we had plenty of fresh bait to use for the elephant fish and rig.
Basically just
Okay.
through here.
And here?
Yep.
Between legs?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Elephant fish and rig are a pretty simple species to target. All you really need to do is put a bit of paddle crab on and then wrap it up with bait elastic. Now we were throwing half paddle crabs, hoping to get that bite.
Yep.
Whatever.
Slowly.
After just 5 minutes, my rod had got its first bite.
Hey, we're on! What do we got, rig? Imagine. Little one. That'll do.
After not being able to land a fish for 3 days, this was a pretty good feeling.
We're in. That's a bit of one. Oh, he's a bit bigger.
It had only been an hour and we were already onto our third rig. The fishing was pretty hot here, and I was happy to be hooking into fish thick and fast.
Cool. Nice fish.
That's better.
That's way better. Way down. Reckon it's the same fish?
I'd say so.
That's a better one. That's strong, eh?
Shit, yeah. Gonna put my tag in it. $103.
he's there.
Something that I learned today was Rig would pick up the bait, drop it, and then you'd leave the bait there and they'd come back and snaffle it. It was quite exciting having the rig come back, grabbing the crab and then loading up the rod.
Yeah, another little one.
Yeah, we found that a lot of the real big ones are generally in that sort of September, late
Yeah.
August, September. Less of them, but they're generally a lot bigger.
Something surprising that I had no idea about coming to the south coast of Christchurch is that Hector's dolphins are widespread right across the beaches. So I got out my long lens and filmed a few frolicking just behind the waves. This fish here was another case of leaving the bait for it to come back around and grab.
He came back. Oh yeah, that's good. There now he's just screaming. I got it. I might have been a bit of weed on the line. I'm probably just fucking seeing things because I'm excited. Nah, rig. It's a good one though. That's a good one. That's better.
That's a better fish.
Nice. Wow, way better. There we go. Nice big one for the trip. Biggest rig I've caught in years. Nice, just get it great.
Bloody fish.
Nice fat one.
It was just after midday and Greg had caught plenty of rig, so he decided to head back home. I, on the other hand, was on a mission.
That's a nice one. Nice big gill. Well, we're about, I don't know how long into the session now, probably about 6 hours into the session, maybe more. We've got a creasing swell and still got wind behind us, so that's good. Forecast is due for it to turn around straight towards us, so we're going to stick it out for a little while longer. I just got one of the best rig of the day just then, so I just threw out another crab, and fingers are just toes crossed because this is basically the only chance I'm going to have this trip. I've got a little Hector's dolphin just frolicking around over there in the surf, which is very, very cool to watch just while I sit here. Yeah, so fingers crossed. We've got a few more hours to go. We'll probably stick it till maybe 6 p.m. We'll give it a good amount of time. Hopefully an elephant turns up.
Over the next hour, it would be the single best period of surf casting I'd ever experienced.
So it's getting towards 5 o'clock now, and the fishing's picked up pretty big. We've had 4 fish in the last 30 minutes, so they've all been rigged. Fingers are still crossed for the elephant fish, but we've done a lot of time and we still haven't got one. It's just been rigged, so it's what it is. We've done a lot of hours, put the effort in, so maybe next time we might get one, but yeah, we're pretty much nearly there. Maybe a couple of rigs to go. Wow. That's the best fish of the day. Look at it go. Heavy. Wow, this is the strongest running fish of the day by a huge margin. It took heaps of line there at the start. Now it's doing nothing. It's going backwards and forwards along the beach. Big rig. Best rig of the day. He's a big girl. Holy shit. I need to figure it out myself. Yeah boy, that's a good one. Oh, big girl. No wonder I struggled. Oh, well, she's well over 75. Well down. She's heavy too. That's 75 to that spot. And then 75 plus 36. Take that. Nice fish. Like 110 probably. at that fish. Excellent. Good girl. Right, girl. There you go. There you go. Quickly, off you go. Yes! Woohoo! Righto, well, we're at the end of our day now and we've had a ride out for 10 hours. So we've put in a pretty good effort, but in the end, the elephant fish have evaded us, but we've got some pretty bloody good rig fishing. This evening I've stayed an extra 4.5 hours. The fish really turned it on from about 4:30. So let's get this ride in. And we'll get the bags up to the car, and then we've got about an hour's drive north and better go find some dinner, and then we can start planning for the next stops and that brook trout.
A couple days later, with the weather awesome for the next 3 days, I made my way up into the high country, heading towards where the brook trout lie. On the way there, I visited some pretty spectacular sights too.
Okay, well, we're standing here next to the car and we're about to walk into our brook trout lake. We've got a track about an hour's walk in. Perfect day for it, overcast, still. So hopefully we might manage it today, but we've got as much time as we need to do it. So let's pick up the fly rod and let's get down there. Well, I can't say I've ever been anywhere quite like this. Just mountains both sides and flat all through this area. Crazy. At last. It's been probably 5 or 6 years since I wanted to come here. And we've got, well, pretty good day I think. Just got that overcast sky and a little bit of a breeze, which I actually want. So let's get down there. We're not far away from the water now. I'm starting to get excited. Yeah, that's the target out there. I can see them.
It didn't take long to start seeing brook trout rising further out into the lake. Most of these were out of reach, so I'd have to be patient and wait for one to swim into range. After several hours of stripping flies, I finally had my first bite.
Just get him onto the fly line, there we go. Not overly huge by the looks of it.
My plan on this first fish was to go nice and easy and get it in nice and smooth.
Oh God. Keep going. It's a char. Fat little one. Oh my God, look at the colour. colour of it. Oh my god, please just get in. Oh man, look how fat it is. It's an excellent fish for a first one. My god, what a beautiful fish. Right, well, that's job done. That's the first fish of the trip that I wanted to catch that I haven't caught before, and there it is. There we go. Wow, incredible looking fish. Just take a look at it. He's an absolute football of a fish. Have some extra footage. Look at him. He's just an amazing fish. Look at him. Just sorted our first real target species of the trip, so that's a beautifully fat one as well. Look at the condition on it. Just absolutely spectacular fish. Look at the back. I'm just in awe of it. And they can look even crazier than this in the spawning season, so I'm absolutely over the moon. Cannot believe I've done it. Been wanting to catch one of these for about 6-7 years, so to do it pretty fast is an amazing feeling. So we can get this one away and we can look for a really good one now, because this one's probably towards 3 pound. So yeah, well, I think he's definitely over 40 centimeters. So right, first brookie, let's get him going. Look at the bloody football. Excellent. Woo-hoo-hoo. So I'm just updating you after probably about another hour and a half. There's been a lot of fish jumping, these dragonflies going past. Some of them have been quite decent splashes. Surely at least 4 pound fish, some of them. So yeah, we'll just keep trucking, keep stripping this lure. We might change to a green one in a little bit just to mix it up a bit. Right, well, we've fished this little zone here pretty hard out, and thank God we got the one early, because it's been a pretty tough 2 hours. Nothing really going on. Wind's building a bit, so I'm going to chuck around to the other side of the lake and I'll have a tailwind and I'll get the line out a bit further. So yeah, let's head around that way and just take a look around behind me at the crazy scenery, because it's pretty spectacular, especially back this way. Let's get on the path and we'll head around the other side.
Several more hours ticked by as I cast and retrieved over and over, hoping to touch another one of these special fish. However, it was looking pretty poor as I hadn't had a touch in another 3 hours.
Well, I think we're gonna start heading back towards the car. It's about an hour and a bit walk out, so we'll get round back to the other side and go have a crack over there again, just into the sort of early evening, I would imagine. Hopefully the wind might drop out a little bit, make casting a little bit easier, but it's actually quite a nice breeze on the back because it's so sunny up here that it's quite warm even though it's blowing a southerly. So we'll head back round, fish that area again, and hopefully we might pick up one more. And if we pick up that one more, I think we possibly won't come back tomorrow, maybe just the morning. Righto, so it's evening now. We've been casting for 6 hours and we haven't caught another fish, so I'm very glad it was early on and not now. So I'll probably make a call tonight, or I'm going to make a call tonight if I'm going to come back here in the morning, because that was tough. And since I've already got one and it was a lovely fish, we might just save it for the next brookie spot. So make the walk out and go get some dinner.
That evening, I made the decision to walk back in the early hours of the morning to hopefully pick up another one in the low light hours. The theory was, with the sun off the water, the fish would be more keen to take.
Right, we've made the effort to get up here early this morning. Managed to beat the sun, so that's good. Hopefully we'll pick up one this morning. Here we go. Finally, put the hours in. God, they're hard to hook. I'm not even screwing around with them. I'm just gonna keep them on the fly line. Keep all the pressure on. Fight really strange to a normal trout. They just do great big circles. Look, here he comes. Not a big one, but it's a brookie. Maybe he's better than I think he is. Look at that backdrop though, Jesus. Amazing. Wow, it was a good idea to walk in this morning early. Jeez, he's not actually that big, but and on the little fly, so that's telling. Just a little fella, but we'll take him. Oh my God, they're just so beautiful. It's just the most insane looking fish. We'll just do a lift up of him. Look how pretty he is. There you go. Gotta go hide under there. That's better.
Despite the sun reaching over the hills, I managed to hook up to another fish, and this one was a pretty good one.
Wow, patience, sticking it out. That's our fourth bite of the morning. Oh, hopefully it's a nice fish. Bit of weight there. Just almost had all of the fly line out when I was casting. Oh, it's a good fish. You can tell he's just, yeah, he's pulling. Oh God, it's a big fish. Oh shit. No, not happening, not happening. Tip ripped. He's still on there, he's still on there. He just came right at us. It's a big fish. It's a proper one, it's the one I came for. Line on the reel, because he's just coming at me. Right, jeez, he's a big fish. From what I looked at, he was huge. Way bigger. Yeah, a real one, that's a real one. Wow. So lucky. He just rushed at me and I lost all contact with him. But he's just hooked well, so that's good. What we'll do is we'll jump down in the water here and we'll bring him in. I think he's done. Oh, he's a beautifully conditioned one. I think so he can go home happy. Oh my god, he's a nice, lovely one. Oh yes, take a look at that thing. Mate, those hours I put in yesterday. Yeah, that's a real one. That's, I can go home happy with that. Not much power left in him. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. That's a 4-pounder. It's gotta be. Doesn't like the net. Just get in. Yes, boy. Yes. Yes. That's. I'm not gonna beat that anytime soon. Oh my god. What a stonker. Yes, boy. Woohoo! Yahoo! What a fish that is. I cannot believe it. I could not have dreamed for one this big. But man, that thing is, I'd say a comfortable 4 pound just due to condition. I want to get as much footage of this thing as I can. Olive woolly bugger did the damage, slow sinker. Look at the colour and just the patterning. It's just the most spectacular fish you can find in freshwater in New Zealand. That's blue halos and red spots. Mouth is very different to most other trout species. Just want to sit here and look at it all day, but we'll do a final little hold up I think, and then we will think it's a big female going. I'm probably never going to beat this in my life unless I go somewhere like America or Canada, so let me just pull this guy up for a look in front of the camera, because you're just not going to believe this, because I can't. Oh my god. Have I actually done this? Look at the size of this thing. Let's just give him another look. Oh my god. Look at this thing. I'm just gonna pull him out there so you can have a good look at everything on him. I do have the mic covering a bit, but yeah, Jesus. We're gonna have to get some really nice photos of this. Wow, that's a true trophy for me. I'm not gonna get any better than that. It's just the most spectacular fish, this one. By far the best trout I've ever caught. Wow, it's not even a trout, it's a char. Look at that thing. Just incredible. Alright, you ready? There you go. Oh. It's only 7:30. Okay, we're done here for the morning. We had, I think, 5 hits in the end, and we got that absolute beast at the end, so I can go home very, very happy with how the trip's gone up here. So we're going to head off and look for a brown or a rainbow now, and then maybe a perch later on today. We'll see where we end up. It's going to be a pretty tough one during the middle of the day. Oop, in a hole as per usual up here. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. It's not meant to be any wind. There might be up here because it's high country, but there isn't a cloud in the sky. Can't even see one. So yeah, it's pretty perfect if you're going swimming, which probably will later because it's going to get hot. Said 28 degrees, so it might get a bit uncomfortable in the middle of the day. And yeah, let's get on the road out of here. Bit of a walk, about 3 k's back to the car, and then we'll head up. There's a few spots there that I want to go have a look at, see if we can't stalk a big rainbow or a brown on the flats, eh?
After a very successful morning on brook trout, this allowed me to spend the rest of the day exploring around the area and finding a new spot. I had the plan to head onto a flat and hopefully find a few brown trout, and mid-morning I made my way out into the lake.
Rainbow. We're starting to get it now. Just cast it ahead, watch for them to race in, and then when they pause, either they've got it in their mouth or they don't. So not sure if it's a rainbow or if it's a brown. Must be mostly browns up on this flat. Oh, it's a much better marked one. So what I've got on is a micro woolly bugger, an olive colour. He's seen me. It's wrapped up in it. Much smaller, but much nicer fish than that last one. Almost silver. Get in there. Oh, lovely fish. Silvery.
Having already caught a couple of smaller fish, this one was the first really nice one of the day.
Look at the scenery. It's just ridiculous.
It wouldn't take long to hook another one, as there were just that many fish on this flat cruising.
That's a nicer fish.
With every fish that refused, they were getting easier and easier to predict. It would just be a case of getting the fly in the right spot with the right presentation.
Well, we've been fishing along this flat now for quite a while. It's just spectacular numbers of fish. We've probably been past a good 50 or so, and so far that's the best of the lot. Lovely marked 3-pounder. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I think we'll just send her on away until we get a bigger one. Sweet. Oh, there you go, Gil. Oh, really nice fish.
Conditions on the lake today were looking to be absolutely perfect, with just a slight breeze to mask the cast, but also just enough so that I could see the fish cruising. Off in the distance, I could see a fish cruising along, so I make a cast in front of it. As I'm stripping the fly, you can actually see 3 different fish trying to eat the lure at the same time. Unfortunately, the one that takes it jumps off and it's back to square one. When casting at fish in this manner, it's all up to the guess if they've got the fly in their mouth. Often I just can't see if the mouth is open, so I'll come up to strike if I think the fish has actually got it. I keep tracking this fish as it's done a turn and it looks like he might be interested in coming along to grab this fly. and after 2 botched casts right over his head, I was on.
God, it's good fun. Oh, come on.
Another lovely brown trout was in the net. I just had to quickly get the fly up before letting him go.
Another nice one. Oh, and I've got a fish going past in front of me as well. Just get a quick pick.
That fish that was cruising in front of me quickly took the fly before I could get the camera on.
It's better than I think he is. That's nice.
After a few hours of catching lots of different brown trout on this flat, I decided to start heading back towards the car, and I found a really nice fish feeding off the top in the outlet. So I chucked on a small dry fly and threw it in front of him.
Come here, come out.
Thankfully, I was able to pull this fish out nice and quickly before he got to any snags.
Not going anywhere. There we go, landed. Nice fish on a dry. Seemed to run away. Best fish of the day. Go back and start eating again.
The following day, I'd walked in to somewhere very, very special. This place would be a spring creek and we'd be hunting down monster rainbow trout. Once I had arrived to the lower reaches of this amazing looking blue creek, it didn't take long to find one of these rainbows.
Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. How big is the fish is the question. Jesus. It's a good fish. He's going for the ocean, this fish. He's going to hole up at the bank. Lots of head shakes. Gonna have to follow him. Need to get him off the bottom. We're in a good spot to land him now. I think he's a lot bigger than I think he is. It's a rainbow. Big rainbow, I think. Brown or a rainbow? Still can't tell. Still can't tell. It's a rainbow. Nice big fat one. Oh, it didn't go in. Get in. Oh, it's a big fat fish. Fish of the trip so far. Mate, that's got weight. Spectacular rainbow. Wow. Might just yeah, I'm not getting good enough light there, so we'll probably turn the bag a little bit the other way, but I'll just let you have a look here and then we'll light that way. Wow, that's a nice fish. That's an easy 5-pounder. Well, we're on the board. Nice lovely fish, over 5 pound, just from the length of it and the thickness through the body. So yeah, we'll let it go, I think.
There seemed to be quite a few fish in the area, so I lined up another one and made a cast.
Yep. Whoa! Spectacular, man. That's a huge fish. I know he's going to come back at me. That's better than the last one. There he is. Big rainbow. Is he in the mouth? I think he's in the mouth. Oh, he's off. Yep. He's off. Oh! He's a jumper. Just the direction changes. God, stop coming at me. This is just spectacular. I didn't think they were going to be this keen to feed. He went a mile to get that. Just a slight bit more. I reckon he's bigger. Oh man, That's a very, very good condition fish. Just saw the bulk of her. Yeah, big girl. I think when I go on next, I'm gonna bring scales. Come on, fish. Starting to get her. Giving it up. Come on. Oh, look at the bulk of it. That's a big fish. Come on. Oh, boy. Yes. Now I do wish I got a weight. Oh, that's big. I don't think it's gonna go 9. Oh, well, it might. There's not much I can do about it. I don't have scales with me, so it's beast though. Absolute beast. That's close to 8 pound. It's gotta be. I often underestimate my fish as well, so Jesus. Well, we've done it again. It's an even bigger fish this time. I'm picking about the 7 pound mark. Yeah, we're not going to call it any bigger than that. It could be up towards that 8 mark, but yeah, I don't have scales, so we'll never know. We'll just we'll grab the length and then we can take a look at how much it's been eating, and we'll have a pretty good idea of the weight when we put it into a calculator, because I'm pretty sure that's that girth is, wow, finger to finger, and yeah, just huge. Point us in this direction and we'll pull her up for a look. Oh man. Look at that fish. It's absolutely enormous. I couldn't have dreamt of this. This is spectacular fishing, and we're 2 from, well, no, this is number 3. The first fish was a bit of a slab. But holy shit, man. That's an absolute pig. Wow. Right, let's get a photo. What a horse.
I headed further upriver, casting to every fish that I saw. But unfortunately, the glare was becoming quite a big problem to try and see where the fish were. And because I was casting blindly with no indicator, I was spooking far too many. The holding water did start to peter out and fish numbers really dropped off, so I decided it would be better off if I headed elsewhere to look for another fish. And oh boy, did I find a better fish.
Yep. Knew that was a fish. This is going to be fun. Put it under the bank heavy. This is going to be fun. Come out. This is a good fish. You can see him down there. Come out. We're in trouble. Is he gonna hole up in there? Get out of there. Edge coming off. I'm getting in the river. In the river.
This big brown had decided to hole up under the tussock, and he knew exactly where he was going.
Here we go. Coming out. Coming out, coming out. Coming out. He's still in there.
This big fish was adamant that he was staying under.
Oh, you. Right under the bank. Yes, and he's out. He's on to the next bank now. Oh, he's a solid fish. No, not that bank now, you dick. No. Jesus, he's doing everything. You know what? I ditched the net and I'm going in there. Has he got off yet? I'm going to hand line him out if I have to. Fucking gonna grab your tail if you're not careful, buddy. Oh, yep, there he is. I reckon I can pull him out of there now. I had him by the tail. Ah! Fuck, I touched his tail. Oh my god. I'm fucking distraught. That was a huge fish.
Well, when the fish knows the area that well, you don't even have a chance sometimes. He won his freedom fair and square, and he swam off, thankfully with no flies attached. After fishing one of the most beautiful rivers that I've ever seen, I made the call to drive out and head to the next spot, but not before heading out behind some sheep, heading up the road. I ended up in the next campsite, just sleeping in the car as I had been for quite some time, and the next morning would be another brook trout mission.
Well, we've finally made it to a secret lake high up in the mountains. It was a big walk in, so let's see what we can find in here. Here it is, and there's a rise already. Another tannin stain sort of job.
On this next stage of the adventure, I would be targeting brook trout in this tiny little high country lake. Today's goal would be to tick off a brook trout on fly and spin, so keep watching to see how I get on.
It's a brookie. Right, now to the net.
As I was standing quite high on this cliff, I'd need to find my way down to the water's edge in order to net this fish.
I think we have somewhere to land him. Right, there we go. Bit of a run. Of course, he's got it in the weed.
Eventually, after a bit of to and fro, I managed to get the fish out of the weeds.
Yep. Oh my god, that's the prettiest one so far. That is absolutely gorgeous. Man, oh man. Oh, he's got the lit up everything. Snaffled. Certainly snaffled. No, not too badly. Oh my god. This is the most spectacular fish. Yep, right. Don't really have much sun, but hold him up for you, shall we? This is the prettiest one I've caught so far. Right, this is a better shot of him. I've got the lighting correct. I've got my hat perched on the side of a cliff. Look at the state of him. Just giving him lots of water, just so he's nice and happy. Mate, I just can't get over how awesome these colours are on these fish. Absolutely spectacular.
The first brookie from this lake was an absolute stunner. Just check out those red dots and all of those mottled markings along the back. The crimson red white tip fins were exactly what I was hoping for out of this lake. After getting a few pictures, it was time to send him on his way. Since it was spring in the high country, it would be pretty susceptible to wind, so getting my fly fishing out of the way early would be the key to pick up a few on the fly, which is my preferred method. And after a few more casts, I hooked up to another one.
Mate, to get two. I'm doing pretty good, I think. Maybe we might find a bigger one later today, but we've got all day. Oh, I worked so hard for that bite. Fuck it.
With the morning over, the wind really arrived. Despite being quite a sheltered spot, the wind was proving a bit of a struggle. At least it wasn't too strong to get the fly out. While I was having lunch, I heard some rustling behind me. In amongst these bushes is a deer, and I have no idea what it's doing there. Interested to see why a stag is sitting there downwind of me, I go over to investigate.
It's stuck. That'll do. Get it out. Pull out. Come on. There you go. Come on, man. Fuck.
This poor guy must have been stuck here quite a while, as he must have been there as I walked in.
Oh god.
Thinking I might be able to get him free from some of these branches, I head in to have a look to see what I can do.
Canal. Yeah, I'm not with it. I don't think I can do anything for you, man. Too dangerous.
After an experience I'll never forget, I headed back to the lake to start fishing with a spin rod. Cutting a bait junkie soft plastic in half, I threaded it onto a very light jig head. This was partially due to the backcast room I was experiencing problems with, and also to try out something different. You'll see that the wind sometimes eased, so it became very calm and I'd be able to spot if there were any fish in the area.
First cast in that spot.
The first fish to come on spin was right at the end of the cast, as the lure was sinking. Spirited Fish really did try to get me in the weeds by going right, but after a bit of coaxing, I got the fish round to my landing spot.
Is that going to be a brookie on a soft bait? Possibly. Looks that way. Get in there. Yep, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Nice. Well, there you are, there's our one on spin. That is spectacular. They're all epic fish up here. Right, we'll get a couple of pictures and I'll do a bit of a hold up. Right, you're getting a good look at it now. Another excellent brook trout. We're up to 5 for the trip out of about, I think we've had sort of 8 or 9 bites so far this trip. So we'll do another couple hours and then we can go pretty happy with our brookie mission, with that being our 5th one. We'll be very, very happy if we got another one, but we can go home happy now. There you go.
After covering more water, I had cast a little bit further to the right and got slammed again. It was another case of getting the brookie's head round and down to where I could land it. Once down there, I got a serious run out of them, which is not common for this species. They definitely prefer to shake their head and just try and dislodge the hook rather than really run.
Man, have I got lucky there. There's 3 for the day. That's bloody good. Is it a male? It is a male. Not as many. How many? 8 there. And more on that side. Here we are. Awesome. So rare in New Zealand to find them. Look at that thing. Even a bit of sun.
After travelling all that distance to get here and then have one in my hands, I was going to take every moment as slow as possible to check out just how cool these fish looked on the camera and with my own eyes for the memory bank.
A few photos and then we'll let them go.
All of a sudden, it was 3 from 3 hookups in under 20 minutes. The fish had started to eat, and I was getting right into them.
Like the weed. Is it a better one? Assuming he's going to light up again. Oh yeah, that's way better. It's big. And go in there. Probably the best fish of the lake almost. Just cruising around in front of me. He's not done. He'll be a little while yet. I didn't think they were going to be that big in this lake. Probably a 3-pounder. They're so scary with their head shakes. Like is it even a brookie? Is it a rainbow? Be shocked if it is. It's not behaved like a rainbow. It's got to be a brookie. No, it's a rainbow. Fucking rainbow in here. Big too. Well, that's a surprise. I was led to believe that there's only brookies in here. Well, I wonder how you got in here. Here I was thinking it was going to be a monster brookie. Hasn't behaved it like a rainbow at all. How did you get here? Damn it. Thought it was a monster brookie. Definitely the spot to be over here. I'd love for it to be a brookie, but it's a nice big rainbow. Confusing that he's in here. Not very good light, but that's your look. Alright, off you go.
And just like that, the hour had gone from fishless to 4 fish. So far, I had learnt that brook trout fishing can be very fickle at times, but if you get onto a patch of fish, it can be very fast.
It's behaving like a brookie, this one. As long as they're biting, I'm staying. Doesn't look too bad. It's the best one of the day though, I think. Yeah, best of the day by a margin.
This brookie was an absolute stunner. For this lake, it was definitely a trophy.
Here's the brookie on a plastic. Another one. Got the white fin tips as well. Awesome fish. Okay, well that's us done for this spot. What an incredible place. I think we've had 5 brook trout and most of them have come on the spin rod in the afternoon. Possibly a big pressure change with some storms building behind me, and it's got the fish on the chew, so we've had I think 3 fish in the past half an hour alone, and that big rainbow, which is not meant to be in here. It's meant to only be brookies, but obviously one of them's found its way up here somehow. We had that deer caught up in that vine stuff. So that's it, we'll chuck our gear on our backs and we'll head out of here.
With so many brook trout now caught and released, I could go home happy with how many I'd got for the trip. I think the total was somewhere around 8 or 9 in the end. All of those hours that went in have paid off. That afternoon, I got on the road and headed down towards Twizel. I made my way past the 2 hydro lakes, Lake Tekapo and Lake Pukaki, and headed on to the canals for the next 3 days. Now there wasn't a whole lot to write home about over these days, as it was mostly working out the area, and I didn't catch too many fish, just a couple of small ones. But on the 3rd and final night of fishing, I hooked up massively to one of the really big canal fish, and unfortunately I dropped it right at the bank. It was somewhere in the range of over 15 pounds, so that one hurt. You'll join me on the 3rd and final day on the canals, where I had scouted a spot that I could use my fly rod on. Behind this jetty, I had found quite a few fish just cruising in the current, and it provided a bit of slack to get a deeply sunk nymph in there. After running the fly through there heaps of different times, I finally got a fish to bite. And the choice to use a 6-weight fly rod on the canals was starting to look like a silly idea. For some context, I was on 6-pound trace and a 6-weight fly rod, and this fish was just killing me.
Stop, please. Stop. Oh, I'm so undergunned. Stop. Get a wind. He's so far in the backing. Get down and move him. I've worked my ass off for this. And my backing by a lot. Just gonna walk him down. Alright, starting to get under control.
Once I got in behind the fish and started to lead it downstream, I started to get a lot of my line back.
Just get him down here. I want the fly line back on the reel. Here it comes. Here's my fly line. Oh, good. Alright, we're somewhat safe. He's going to take it again, I think. Yeah. I'll get him out of the current. Still there, I can feel him. It's by far the biggest fish this rod's ever had on it, I'm pretty sure.
After swimming up the next canal over, the fish turned around and decided it was heading for the power station. By this point, almost all my backing was gone and I had to clamp down.
Got absolutely creamed. He nearly had me to the back of the backing. Was he even in the... Nah, he was in the back. He wasn't even in the mouth. Scale.
After that heartbreak, I thought I wasn't going to hook another one, but about 3 casts later, I managed to get another hook up, and this time the fish was under a lot more control.
Last. It's not a big one. We just got creamed by a big one. That was probably double the size of this thing, but yeah, you don't get condition like that in many places in New Zealand.
After several days of hard fishing, it was finally time for me to land one of these fish. And this fish wasn't even a big one. At around 5 pound, it was a long way under the fish that grow upwards of 35 and 40 pound. My hard work into this spot was really paying off, as another hookup graced me soon after. After the last couple of fish taking me well into my backing, I was putting the hurt on this fish to really try and get it in fast.
Well, we got him. Nice big brown. Not big for here, but big for me. Probably about 8 pound. Look how thick he is. Nice. Right, we can be happy with a couple of nice average rainbows, and that thing is much better. So biggest fish of the trip. I'm happy with that. We'll have a few more casts before we head off, but I think I'm happy with a brown of about 8 pound. Let's let it go.
During my travels throughout Twizel, I made a stop at a really cool spot. This would be much more successful fishing compared to the canals, and I immediately hooked a fish as soon as I got there.
There we go. This is cool fishing in here. That's a big fish. He's about to go. A rainbow, is it? Here comes another fish. Brown or rainbow going past? Oh no, it's brown. Pretty fish. He was cruising shallows. There we go. That's a long fish. There you go. That green fly did the trick again.
Since I was fishing with no indicator, it would be a case of guessing when the fish would take the fly. And in this case, I wasn't quite right in my guess. That bite, on the other hand, was as clear as day, and I struck into this fish well.
Into the backing. Did he come off?
Unfortunately, after that screaming run all the way into my backing, the fish popped off. With a slight tailwind, this was perfect conditions for hunting the flats. That little ripple on the surface really hides the fly line and the leader, and as you can see, there are plenty of fish hunting along this bank. That was a shocking cast though. Further out into the lake, it got quite rocky and even shallower, but this would just make it easier to see where all the fish were sitting.
There's one. Took a look at me and didn't like it and is now heading for the horizon.
After that huge run, I gained a bit of line back and had the fish in view.
Oh yeah, the fish. Flats is so much fun.
From time to time, huge gusts of wind would come up behind me. But this wasn't a problem, as casting was even easier with the wind sending the line out even further. This one was quickly dehooked before I got a look at an almost sea-run looking brown trout. Look at those spots.
There you go.
After that quick look, we sent her on her way. There was now some serious wind coming through across this flat, but it was just good enough that I could still see fish cruising. So I kept casting to hopefully get another fish. With the wind easing slightly, I spotted a fish off in the distance and made a cast. I slowly worked the fly away from it before giving it a little pause. Throughout this trip, that little pause had really made the difference on a lot of these picky fish.
Oh, lovely fish. Some cover. You better be careful or I'll net him. There he goes. It's the perfect wind direction for doing this. And it's disguising the cast well. But kick up a bit of dust, you won't see it coming. Oh, almost in. Yep.
More strong gusts of wind battered me as I unhooked this beautifully fat brown with unique markings from all the other fish today. This one was getting up there in size, heading in the direction of 4 to 5 pound. A really good one to get on the board. As I made my way back towards where I'd come in, I was heading upwind and there were fish cruising ahead of me.
Eat it. Oh, what a dick. He swam all over it.
That one had come 15 metres and not even taken the fly, so I made another cast to see if he might take it on the drop.
Yep, he wanted it. He wanted it dead still. Wasn't gonna refuse it the second time. Now is he gonna head for that log? It looks like it's where he's going.
This one was a true acrobat, jumping out of the water several times and putting on a great display. Several minutes of chasing down later in this blustery wind, I caught up with him.
Nice. Oh, that'd be even better. Best brown of the trip.
And with that, I'd secured another lovely brown trout from the flats. Quite a long and slender fish, but still a lovely one all the same. Following on from this, I'd find a huge bunch of fish feeding on this tiny little bit of the flat. Here is a montage of some of the carnage.
Scare them. A rainbow. Ah, another brown. you go. Next fish. Right, well, we have a low on the wind. That was a pretty insane session. Just fish after fish. And, well, they're still there. There's shitloads of them still around. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to start heading back towards the canals. I've got to try and get the salmon. So, yeah, let's get going over there. I've got a few different spots I need to probably have another crack at. It's going to be tough in this wind, but we're going to have to make do. I've got the rest of today into the night probably after some dinner, and then yeah, probably not too early tomorrow morning because it hasn't really made much of a difference, to be honest, in the last few days. Yeah, and we'll do that morning and then we're off down the coast. Oh, it's hot too.
The next day I travelled out to the coast south of Timaru, and the weather looked to be really good, so I was hoping I might be able to find an elephant fish.
Well everyone, we've arrived to our spot. This is going to be probably as good as it gets for elephant fish for me. We're about 300 or so kilometres south of Christchurch. I'm just having a bite to eat after driving out of Twizel. That was a big trip. I had to have a nap halfway through. So we've got bugger all swell. The wind's meant to be dropping, so we're going to get this prawn ready on the hook, and we'll be fishing right through till dark probably. There's no use wasting the light. So yeah, we've got light for probably another 4 hours or something ridiculous. So yeah, let's get this food into me, get the chair set up, and we can do a bit of offloading footage while we're on the beach because it's so nice and settled. Set the chair up and let's go get an elephant.
It didn't take long for my fresh prawn to get picked up, and I was wondering what this fish could be.
Did not take long at all. Great.
As per usual this trip, it was another rig or spotty dogfish. With the sun now setting, it was time to get that line back out there to hopefully pick up that target species. It definitely seemed like I'd arrived at the right time, with another bite soon after.
Oh my god.
And what do you know, I can't escape the Gurnard, even over 1,000 kilometres south of where I normally fish.
No way, I can't get away from the fuckers. What the last one was. I can't get away from the bastards. Bloody good.
The bite had slowed pretty significantly as the sun began to dip behind the hills, but even then, I was still able to get another bite from the prawn. It was another small rig, welcome but not the target species. These were becoming a bit of a problem throughout the trip. I sent the little shark back home and hoped that I might get another bite throughout the night. After some much needed sleep, I made my way out onto the beach just after sunrise. Got the rod out, but it seemed like this morning wasn't going to be as productive as last night. And plenty of the locals had their rods out too. With the slow fishing this morning, I decided to get out a bit of the rig that I'd kept from earlier. It was excellent eating in the butter on the little cooker I'd brought along. Definitely a few much needed calories. And as I'd learnt, further north, the Hector's dolphins were out in force here too. After 2 days on the beach with no elephant fish in sight, I decided to call it there. With bad weather on the way, I decided to head back north to Christchurch and then assess from there. However, it looked like the weather was going to pack it in for the rest of the week, so I decided to book the ferry and head back up towards the North Island. With a bit of time to kill, I headed to the Marlborough Sounds for a swim and a fish in the afternoon before jumping on the ferry to head back over on Cook Strait. The conditions once again were magical with no swell or wind. I headed away from Picton back towards the North Island with the sun setting in the background. With the sun finally dipping behind the hills, the trip was almost over. While the trip didn't quite go to plan, we got our number one target of a brook trout, and boy did we do well to get one this size. The rest of the trip was blessed with really good weather, and that's all you can really hope for on a trip that is so dependent on weather being good. In the end, we ticked off the brook trout, had battles with some really big rainbows, caught plenty of brown trout on the flats, but we couldn't quite find that salmon in the Twizel canals, despite seeing a few. The spotty dogs came out in force while fishing for elephant fish, so we didn't quite manage that one either, and the redfin perch were quite elusive in the places that I looked for them. The tench also really did not go to plan, as a lot of them were spawning. With this trip under my belt, there's plenty more adventures that I want to do when I head down again. And maybe next time I'll take the kayak. Thank you everyone for sitting through this massive video of all the adventures I got up to while I was down south. Next time I really would like to vlog the entire trip, as I was quite limited on battery power. Cheers everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.